Hi there again. As we continue in our series on control devices, you'll be excited by today's lesson. I'm Mr. Spence. Today, our objectives are you'll be able to understand the function of a dimmer switch, identify 5 dimmer control styles, determine how to correctly wire single pole and three-way dimmers, and finally, of course, give the color code for a dimmer. A dimmer switch. Now, I'm certain that most of you have been in a room that is just too bright, or a room that is just too dark, or been in a situation where you recognize that you need to control, let's say, the speed of a fan, or if you ever wondered how do they do it at the movie theaters just before the movie begins. Lights slowly fade away. They use dimmer switches. Dimmer switches control the level of brightness in a room. The level of brightness in a lamp is measured in the unit called lumens. So a dimmer switch allows you to regulate the amount of lumens that a bulb will give off rather than the full strength of each bulb. Now you notice that we have moved from incandescent bulbs, compact fluorescent bulbs, and now we're using the ever popular LED bulbs. We have to be careful though that when we are purchasing these bulbs, that if we intend to use them for dimming circuits, that it is specified on the bulbs that they can be dimmed. If not, the life cycle of that bulb will significantly be shortened if you use it in a dimmer circuit when it's not intended for it. In fact, it may not put out its full lighting potential or capacity. So when you're wiring a dimmer switch, a single pole switch with a single pole dimmer switch will use black, red, and green, and travelers are added when you're working with three-way dimmer switches. You will see in the slides to come. Now, there are 5 recently popular control styles for dimmers, and you will be able to recognize them now when you see them after this video. The rocker dimmers, you can notice this basically has a push button to turn the lamp on, and here, if you could see it, is a slider on the side. And this here is a slide dimmer, which is a popular one. You push it all the way up, the lamp comes on to its maximum, and as you slide it down, it gently fades away. Then here's a slide dimmer with an efficient on or off button, which enables you to have a master control for your dimmer switch. Then the rotary dimmer, which you would notice in most of the old applications where you had to push this dimmer switch in, and then you turn the rotator, and that will increase or decrease the lighting. Then there are toggle dimmers, which are very robust but are not very commonly used. You would mostly see sliding dimmers in large applications. Now let's get some understanding of the dimmers now. The toggle dimmer is one where you have the dim level preset. So it usually has a small lever on the side of the switch. Then you can toggle the light on or off as you would with any light. So the toggle dimmer would work just as how you would work with your regular single pole switch, only that you have a slider on the side which you can use to preset the lighting intensity. So when you turn it on, it comes on that particular level. So this allows you to always switch the light on or off at a particular level. And this allows you to yeah, this is when somebody wants you to have a, you want this light, this room to have a specific lighting quality. And so you preset that with the slider on the side, and that will allow you, every time you go in that room, it will have that lighting intensity, as opposed to the other sliding one where you have to always be setting. Now, as I said before, the rotary dimmer switch is, is, is one that is, it was used primarily, it was one of the most um, common or the original dimmer switches. So in this case, I have it said here that this is your grandfather's dimmer switches. So it's been used for a long time ago, and they're slowly but surely coming off the market. And as I said before, if you're using LED bulbs, you have to ensure that the LED bulbs are compatible with the dimmers that you're using, or they are dimmable. Slide dimmers. Now the slide dimmer switches are very common and effective. You can leave the slide in a dim position. Then if you have a switch, you can flip the switch in an on or off position to create a preset value for this. So that's a slide dimmer with a switch. If it doesn't have a switch, then you'll have to depend on it turning on or off based on the slide. We also have the rocker dimmer, which is similar to the toggle dimmer, in that you have a small slider on the side that you can use to adjust the dim level. So it's best, this is also best if for those who want to keep the lights at a particular level most of the time, and use the rocker to just turn the lights on or off. Okay? However, the slide on this is easier to work than the one on the toggle switch. All right, so each of these has its own particular advantage. And finally, we have top dimmers. Top dimmers are ones that operate very similar to the rocker dimmer with preset sliding controls. The only difference is that instead of a rocker switch, you are now tapping the dimmer, and that will now turn the light on or off as a master control. All right, so now we're going to look at dimmer switch types. Now, the types of dimmer switches are single pole or double pole. So the single pole dimmers is the most common, and you need that. You will need everybody needs that at some place in their home if they're really gonna customize their home. Whether it is to control a fan, I mean, it can be very annoying to be pulling the canopy of a fan to speed it up or slow it down. So the dimmer switch mounted in the wall will give you that intermediate speed control that you would get from the pendant or the canopy switch that would be mounted on the fan. So if you would pull the fan to its highest speed, then you can use the dimmer to control its range of movement, and that can be very, very, very helpful. All right, so a single pole dimmer is one that controls everything from one switch location. The dimmer switch must turn on the lights and also dims them. No other switches involved. So when you use a single pole switch for dimming purpose, or as I said, for speed control, it controls everything. So we look at the way it's configured. So the dimmer switch, when you get it, it has a large back, which has the dimming circuit configuration inside, which allows you to limit or to increase the amount of voltage that comes out of this switch. So it's almost like a valve when you're washing your face in the faucet, with the faucet in the sink in the bathroom. As you open the valve, of course, more water pours out. As you restrict the valve by closing it, less water comes out. And so that's what the dimmer switch is basically doing with electricity, and allows the output to be reflective. As you as you reduce the resistance within the dimmer switch, the brighter the lamp will be. As you increase the resistance, the darker or the dimmer the light will be. All right. So as we look at the dimmer switch circuit, we notice it is manufactured with two black wires, but of course when we connect to it, because it has no screw terminal, we'll have to splice into it and connect with the wire cap. We'll take the switch feed off one of, it doesn't really matter, off one of the blocks and send it to the lamp, or to the switch, sorry, or to the, from the, it's either lamp or it's a fan, but the switch feed will exit through one of the blocks, and of course the next block, which is the main hot, will connect to it. And then this wire here is ground, which is green, should have been colored green. If not green, it will be bare copper, but coming off the dimmer switch, it is definitely green, as indicated here. In some cases, you may see them silver. So our line diagram shows you that the 120 volt line comes in, goes in on one block, and then it comes off the next block and goes to the light as red. And of course, the light takes neutral. So it's simple. The same way you would hook up your single pole switch is the same way you will hook up your single pole dimmer, noting that it comes with its green already attached.